All right, now I'm fascinated who you're going to pick.
Well, this sucks because I thought Herbert would be gone. And I have so many notes in my doc right now. I have none for Herbert because I thought he would be gone.
Guess what?
And guess what?
You probably just shouldn't pick him.
And I'm not. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
I'm going with Trevor Lawrence right here. So it's a win-win. I was hoping I'd get Trevor on the turn right at this pick anyways. I'm going to be honest. I have Trevor fourth on my list, even ahead of Burrow. I love Burrow. I'm not saying he's not like that level. I just really, really, really like Trevor. And boy, it's sure nice to be right. So he's last year, Trevor was 6 knee paper dropback. So we're just looking at some of the metrics. That's higher than Burrow, higher than Jalen Hurts, higher than Dak. He's a machine, just processing, timing, moving in the pocket, accuracy. Derrik, I think that was this your phrase. He's the prince who was promised. Like that, yep. that is Trevor Lawrence. He was the prince who was promised. That is him. And he's a good athlete. He only chooses to scramble kind of when he needs to, but like as far as designed runs, you can run the zone read stuff. He called his own number against the Titans where he went rogue and he scores and he's out racing a guy and stiff arming a guy. He had 27 rushing first downs and he doesn't run a ton of QB sneaks to kind of juice those numbers up. He's skinny. So I get why they don't want to do that. He had nearly the same amount of scrambles last year as Lamar, 24 to 26. They had the same exact success rate and the same exact EPA. It's pretty damn good. Fourth in sack rate, which is the one thing what made me optimistic. And I think others, Derrik, year too, was his rookie year was his sack rate numbers, despite playing behind in a terrible offensive system with not a great offensive line. Yeah, guess what? It's sticky. Now he's fourth. Second highest rate of drops last year. So even with all this investment in pass catchers, it's still not the greatest group. So I can't wait the magic that he's going to have with Calvin Ridley this year. I think it's going to be really, really fun to watch those two. And, he's young. He's got 3 more cost controlled years. I think Trevor with the contract, with what he is and how he's going to keep ascending, I'm a huge fan of him overall, so I'm really glad I get him here, and I think he's just going to keep ascending and be an elite type of guy very soon.
$10 million this year, $11.7 million next year, probably $30 million or so on the 5th-year option the year after that. Those are your next 3 years.
Yeah.
And EPA per dropback can be a problematic stat for this reason. It is a symbol of the health of your passing game. So Jimmy Garoppolo ranks in the top 5 in EPA per dropback over the last 3 years. I think that you have to take a critical eye to numbers like that and say, okay, what role does the quarterback have in the success of the passing game if that number is a reflection of the passing game overall? And I think that Trevor has played in an offense where it's well designed. It was very well designed this year, but he doesn't have great talent around him. His big time throw percentage is still 5th, like top 5 in the NFL. He doesn't get sacked. He gets rid of the ball extremely fast. So if you looked at like the 2-3 layers a little bit deeper than simply that number, it becomes even more impressive, not less impressive. Right. And that's why I think it's very easy to be bullish on him. I had him 5th. So okay. I would have taken him after the guy I'm about to take. Yeah, so I completely understand why you would.
I feel like it sets up nicely for you. What do you say, Derrik?
Listening to me about Trevor too, last year's, I had a feeling he was going to be better, but I think the way in which he got better was really cool because he came out in week 2 against the Colts, who Gus Bradley defense, they kind of do what they do. But it was really cool to see him very systematically pick that defense apart. He went like 25 of 30. Yeah. Everything was on time. Everything was right where it needed to be. He should have been 26 of 30 with another touchdown, but Jamal Agnew dropped like a deep over that should have been a touchdown that he threw beautifully. Like it was a perfect, like quarterback knows where to go with the ball every play. He feels mature type of game. Yeah. And then you fast forward a little bit to the Baltimore game, and he has the I can win a game in the 4th quarter type of trait. And then you fast forward a little bit again to the Chargers playoff game, and it's, he can dig himself out of a hole in the biggest moment type of trait. So to me, it just felt like he had all of these, not like stat sheet developments, but like character developments as like just maturing into the league, maturing as a player. That was like, this guy is very clearly someone who is going to be around for a long, long time at a very, very high level.
It's so important for your quarterback to be a multiplier. And it is so obvious already how much better he makes the players and the support system around him. And I just think that's such a huge thing to take into account with him. I don't even think there's any more ambiguity about it. And he just finished his 2nd season.
Yeah. I think what Derrik said too is that I was high on him going into last year. I just didn't think he would in his all last year was like, okay, you put together 2 good weeks and I'm on this podcast getting all giddy. And then it'd be kind of an iffy week or kind of a week where the stats aren't there. His rookie year, even, it'd be, you come away going like, man, he did some good stuff. And you look at his box scores and it's like 120 yards. And you're like, man, that's the most exciting 120 yards I've ever seen in my entire life. But now there's more kind of tangible results that's nice to kind of point at. And what Derrick's saying, those kind of checkpoints of like him becoming a dude is really cool to see unfold in one season. Sometimes you have to wait a year and, oh, okay, there's still questions on this. I think it's so awesome because, like, if they lost that game to the Chargers, how many questions would be there? Well, now they have to win a game, and oh my God, there's still he threw 3 picks in the first half and all that. But maximizing everybody around him, everybody, not just offensive line, not just pass catchers, both, and understanding whatever is called. I think that's what's so cool with him is you can run anything, and he's going to run it perfectly. And his eyes are amazing. Always. He's looking off guys. It's the whole package. It's everything I like. I'm excited you guys like him too, obviously, but I'm giddy to watch him this year because I think he's going to get even a little more help with his pass catchers. Offensive line we'll still see, but I think he'll still mitigate some of those issues. And that's why it's going to be fun.
Again, it goes back to feel. Like you could see it that rookie year where he just has a feel for how to navigate the pocket, how to negotiate that space. My biggest concern with him, Nate, you and I have talked about this. We talk about Lamar Jackson, how creative of a thrower he is. That was my biggest hang up about Trevor, is how creative and loose he could be as a player, because at times he felt to me a little bit robotic, where it's just like, if he's going to be in this box, where is the ceiling really? And I think you really saw that down the back half of last season, where there were games, stretches, flashes, where the concern about that with me started to melt away a little bit.
I forget who I was talking to, but I was talking kind of about that thing with Trevor, and someone said it was like at a certain point last year, he remembered, oh, I'm Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, you didn't see that his rookie year. And it was like last year he remembered, oh shit, I'm the best player in the draft. I'm the best quarterback prospect in a decade. Like, I'm going to go play like it. I'm going to act like it. And
just let the tension out of your shoulders a little bit, my guy. Just take a deep breath and relax a little bit.
What's funny is he did this in college in a way. It was, I think, going into his final year. Yeah, his sophomore year, there was so much hype, like 2 years in advance of like, oh, he's going to be the number 1 pick, blah, blah, blah. And for the first like 3 or 4 games, it was like, man, what is wrong with you? Like, he's just forcing weird passes. He looked uncomfortable. And he even said as much as a certain point. He was like, I just felt the pressure that everyone had put on me. And then at a certain point, I just remembered, I'm good, and I'm going to go play like I'm good. And then he did. And I think he had kind of had to go through that in the NFL. And I'm very glad we're on the other side of that with him, because he is just an unbelievable joy to watch.
People can now appreciate him as opposed to going like, oh, Zach Wilson's doing this. It's like, no, just appreciate what the hell this guy's doing, because it's so good.